The intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Karoline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians. All of these lies that were never true.
Karoline Leavitt and Kaitlan Collins are going head-to-head again, and it just blew up. Leavitt dropped one of the coldest clapbacks we've ever seen at a White House briefing. Collins, as always, came ready to take shots at the Trump team and stir things up, but Karoline's not having it. She's quick, fearless, and shutting Kaitlan down at every turn. And the best part, I've got every red-hot moment lined up for you. Get ready. This one's about to get wild.
Mr. Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence is...
Kaitlan kicks things off by questioning Tulsi Gabbard's reasons for exposing explosive info on her favorite, Barack Obama. If you're missing what's happening here, let me break it down. Obama's taking heat, and Kaitlan's running full-blown defense. Her move: discredit Tulsi and change the focus. But Gabbard wasn't fooled. She saw it coming and hit back with a move that flipped the whole thing. She didn't just stand her ground, she burned the narrative and the guy behind it straight fire.
Well, first I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence.
Kaitlan came into the showdown with a butter knife, but Tulsi Gabbard brought a sharp double-edged sword and sliced through Kaitlan's polished media act. The wild part, Kaitlan didn't even know the difference between the Senate Intelligence Committee and the Director of National Intelligence. Two totally separate groups. Rookie mistake. Getting schooled by Tulsi live in front of millions wasn't just awkward, it was career-level cringe. You could almost see the embarrassment as she scrambled to recover. And Tulsi, she wasn't done. She passed Kaitlan off to Karoline Leavitt for another flame session. You'll want to see this.
Evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Karoline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians. All of these lies that were never true.
Another savage takedown from the queen of comebacks, Karoline Leavitt just set the room on fire. This time, her target was Kaitlan Collins, who tried twisting Marco Rubio's words into something they weren't. Collins made it look like Rubio went from anti-Trump to MAGA mouthpiece, backing Russian chaos claims. But here's the catch: Rubio never said Russia and Trump colluded. That spin came from the Democrat backrooms and their media partners. Leavitt wasn't letting it fly. She came locked and loaded with facts, receipts, and a sledgehammer. On the spot, she crushed the spin and exposed the lie. Unfiltered, fearless, and impossible to miss. Karoline's not just reacting, she's setting the tone, flipping the story, and dropping truth bombs that stick. And let's be real, she's only getting warmed up.
He also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign.
That right there is fearless. Karoline Leavitt totally earned her respect for roasting every media outlet in that press room, especially the ones that treated the Steele dossier like gospel. No fact-checking, no digging, just pure partisan chaos. I still remember when the dossier hit. Every news show, every late-night bit clung to it like it was the next blockbuster script. It turned into their golden ticket for non-stop Trump-Russia hype. They didn't just report it, they went full obsession mode, spinning it like prime-time drama. But then reality hit. The dossier turned out to be mostly baseless noise and political fiction. The media got exposed, and Karoline, she made sure they owned that failure, loud and clear. She didn't just call them out, she reminded the whole country their credibility went up in flames.
As for your second question, Kaitlan, I think who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not worth.
Another scorcher from Karoline Leavitt, who's quickly becoming one of the boldest, sharpest press secretaries ever to take that White House mic. This time, CNN's Kaitlan Collins threw out bait, claiming Tulsi Gabbard exposed Obama just to win favor with Trump, but Karoline wasn't having it. She shut it down fast, making it clear Tulsi never said, hinted, or even leaned that way. That spin, just another left-wing fantasy, Karoline said cooked up drama to divide Trump's circle. As she calmly took apart the fake story point by point, Kaitlan started to crack. You could see the panic rise as her setup crumbled live. Cameras rolling, silence in the room. Easily one of the most jaw-dropping moments from that podium. Watch this.
I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to, and that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president.
Another scorcher from Karoline Leavitt, who's quickly becoming one of the boldest, sharpest press secretaries ever to take that White House mic. This time, CNN's Kaitlan Collins threw out bait, claiming Tulsi Gabbard exposed Obama just to win favor with Trump, but Karoline wasn't having it. She shut it down fast, making it clear Tulsi never said, hinted, or even leaned that way. That spin, just another left-wing fantasy, Karoline said cooked up drama to divide Trump's circle. As she calmly took apart the fake story point by point, Kaitlan started to crack. You could see the panic rise as her setup crumbled live. Cameras rolling, silence in the room. Easily one of the most jaw-dropping moments from that podium. Watch this.
The documents revealed that the Obama administration did not publish a December 2016 presidential daily briefing that demonstrated that Russia did not steal the election. Trump was receiving these briefings at the time because he was president-elect. Are you of the view that that information was kept out of the briefing because then President-elect Donald Trump would have seen it?
I don't have any documents that speak to exactly what the new guidance was that was given as the reason for pulling that document, which, by the way, still has never been published until we released it last week, Friday. One could assume that they didn't want President Trump to see a document that came from the intelligence community that would contradict the Russia hoax narrative that began through the Hillary Clinton campaign with the Steele document.
Democrats love acting like they're the moral compass of America. But let's be real, it's all for show. Smoke and mirrors. They slam Trump for playing dirty, but their own playbook makes his look soft. Here's the truth. They knew the Russia collusion story was fake. They had the briefings, the intel, the facts. But instead of being honest, Obama and Biden stayed quiet. They didn't stop the lie, they fed it, pushing the Steele dossier like it was gospel. All to smear Trump and sway public opinion. Now the mask is falling off. What we're watching isn't a party defending democracy, it's one getting caught in its own script. The same folks shouting about truth and justice were selling fiction the whole time. Karoline Leavitt nailed it. The American people deserve real answers, not staged drama. And finally, the curtain's falling on the left's longest-running show.
Do you or the White House believe that the Supreme Court's immunity decision protects Obama from prosecution?
And he wants to see all those who perpetuated this fraud against our country, who betrayed our country and the Constitution, to be thoroughly investigated and held accountable. And it's been 10 years of this, and I would just add, based on everything the director has said and declassified, all of you in this room should go through it and take a look at this report and review the intelligence, because unfortunately that hasn't happened. And many of the people who perpetuated this hoax, Clapper, Andy McCabe, James Comey, and many others, have been hired by major networks in this room to go on television and continue to spew these lies, knowing that they are lies.
I truly believe anyone who helped drag this country into the Russia collusion hoax needs to face consequences. How that happens, through courts, elections, or another route, is up for debate. But one thing's clear: the damage was real, and the lies were deliberate. Can Barack Obama be prosecuted? That's for the courts, or maybe even the Supreme Court, to decide. But what no one can deny is that his inner circle, many of whom Karoline Leavitt boldly named, were central to this political setup. They spread false claims, shattered public trust, and used federal power to target a sitting president. That kind of abuse can't just slide. Americans deserve real accountability, and the era of elites walking away clean has to stop. This wasn't politics. As usual, it was a planned takedown, wrapped in titles and protected by status.
Back to 2016 and the years after, the entire Trump 1 presidency was embroiled in this scandal that was perpetuated by the Democrat Party, who went on television and told the American people Donald Trump is an asset of Russia. It was a lie. They always knew it. Hillary Clinton herself said that President Trump would be a puppet for Putin. Senator Tim Kaine at the time called President Trump Vladimir Putin's defense lawyer. Adam Schiff stated, and one of the worst things a lawmaker can do, he said, "I can tell you that the case is more than that. I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now." And not enough people in this room, not enough journalists in this country pushed Adam Schiff to say, "What are you talking about? What evidence do you?"
Legacy media didn't just miss the story, they were the story. Locked in with the Democrats, they weren't reporting facts. They were driving the mission: stop Trump from ever making a comeback. Objectivity gone. Integrity forgotten. They didn't care how weak the evidence was. If it hurt Trump, it made headlines. No vetting, no sources, just pure clickbait. Journalism turned into political theater. They didn't just repeat the lie, they blasted it across every screen, selling it as gospel. And when the truth came out, no retractions, no sorry, just silence and a quiet shift to the next fake scandal, hoping we'd move on. But we haven't. The division, the distrust, the hit to democracy, it's all still here. These weren't journalists doing their job. They were party operatives in disguise, using press passes to push an agenda. Karoline Leavitt ripped that cover off, exposing the tangled mess of media and party collusion and the full-on attack on truth itself. Now the lies are in the open, and the next step is obvious: accountability. The era of unchecked media power and political deception has to stop, starting now. That's it for today's video. If that woke you up, hit like and subscribe. More to come.